Six Flags Great Adventure. This used to be home to the tallest roller coaster in the world, and now it's just gone. Something about that alone already makes this place feel different. I visited this park as a child and have fond memories of seeing massive roller coasters that weren't available near my hometown in New Hampshire. Back then, this place felt unreal, like you had somehow found the most extreme theme park on earth. And in a lot of ways, it still is. But now when you walk through it, it feels like something is missing, because it literally is. King Ka closed permanently at the end of 2024 and was demolished in early 2025 to make way for a new coaster. And it wasn't the only thing. Other rides like Green Lantern and the drop tower attached to King Ka were removed too. So now you have this massive section of the park that used to be dominated by one of the most insane structures ever built. And now, it just feels empty. And that actually makes the entire park feel even more off than it already did. On more recent visits, I have found the contrast between elite rides and unimpressive attractions at this park to create a strange mix of worlds. Because here's the thing, this park still has some of the best roller coasters anywhere. El Toro is still here, one of the most aggressive wooden coasters ever built. People constantly rank it as one of the best in the world. Nitro is still here, smooth, massive, and exactly what you expect from a top-tier hypercoaster. Jersey Devil is here too, a newer ride that looks completely different from anything else in the park. So on paper, this should feel like one of the best parks in the country. But it doesn't fully come together that way, because everything around those rides feels inconsistent. You'll walk from a world-class coaster into an area that feels barely themed. Then suddenly, you're in a DC Comics section. Then back into something that feels like it hasn't changed in 20 years. And this isn't random. The park has a long history of removing rides, replacing them, and constantly shifting layouts over time. And you can feel that when you're walking through it. There are these strange transitions where nothing really connects. Long pathways, open areas, buildings that don't match each other. It almost feels like multiple parks layered on top of each other. And then there are the rides that just feel weird. Before it was removed, Green Lantern was one of the most talked about rides in the park, but not in a good way. A lot of people described it as rough, uncomfortable, and more something you survive than enjoy. And that kind of sums up a lot of the in-between rides here. They're not bad enough to stand out, but not good enough to match the top tier either. Then you have Skull Mountain, a dark indoor coaster inside a giant artificial mountain. It feels completely separate from everything else, almost like something from a different era that just never left. And that's where the park starts to feel a little eerie. Not in a haunted way, just in a way where things don't fully match. Old sections, new rides, an empty space where something massive used to be. And then there's the strangest part of all. Right next to the park, there's a full safari. Not a small one, a massive wildlife park with hundreds of animals. And somehow that just adds to the confusion. Because instead of feeling like one cohesive destination, it feels like completely different experiences placed next to each other. Even the location adds to this feeling. I also feel that the area around the park is a unique vibe for being so close to an amusement park. There aren't many restaurants or amenities that you would expect on the roads leading to the park. You'd expect a place like this to be surrounded by hotels and tourist spots, but instead it feels kind of isolated. I have stopped at a small hole-in-the-wall sub-shop that served classic East Coast fare and have always enjoyed that experience. In general, I find the location of this park to be a negative, as the surrounding area is overall unpleasant. And I think that contributes to the overall experience more than people realize. Because instead of building excitement as you approach the park, the area kind of just feels flat. And then you enter, and suddenly you're surrounded by some of the biggest rides in the world. It's a weird contrast. And that contrast is what defines this entire park. It's not bad, it's not boring, it's just strange. And honestly, that's why it's memorable. Because even with everything that doesn't fully work, you still want to come back. You still want to experience those rides again. And you still can't really explain why the place feels the way it does. And maybe that's what makes it interesting. Thanks for watching. If you're planning on going to parks like this, I've got a few things linked below that I actually use. Salomon shoes that can handle walking all day without killing your feet. A sunscreen that doesn't feel gross after a few hours in the heat. And liquid IV packets that honestly make a bigger difference than you'd think. They're all at the top of the description if you want to check them out. And I'll see you in the next one.